There are men who walk into a room and don't need to open their mouths for everyone else to notice them. It's not the suit, it's not the watch, it's not the money. It's something invisible, but it's felt. That energy can't be bought. It can't be faked. It's built. Most men waste years chasing external things to impress, without understanding that true attraction comes from what you convey without words. Your silence, your gaze, your way of occupying space. We live in a time when many believe that pretty phrases, constant messages, or pretending to be successful are enough to win over a woman. That's cheap noise. Genuine attraction is ignited with presence, with character, with that calm that makes others turn their heads when you enter. And that presence is not inherited, it's worked on. What makes a man attractive is not his perfect physique or his bank account. It's self-mastery. It's not being dragged along by impulses or depending on the validation of others. It's that aura that makes you feel secure even in silence, that strength that doesn't need to shout to be noticed. Today we're going to talk about those 6 masculine auras that generate respect and true attraction. This is not about tricks or magic phrases, but about stoic habits and attitudes that you can start practicing today to change the way others perceive you. If you're looking for quick formulas, you won't find them here. This is about character, discipline, and real presence. 1. Make silence your greatest weapon. Silence is one of the most underestimated forces a man can master. In a world full of constant noise, messages, opinions, and people competing to be heard, the man who knows how to be silent stands out immediately. Not because he has nothing to say, but because his silence carries weight. One of the most powerful auras that genuinely attract women does not come from witty words or romantic phrases. It comes from the calm that someone who does not feel the need to fill every space with words conveys. Silence is not weakness, it is self-control. It reveals an inner mastery that few possess. A man who knows how to keep silent shows that he does not need to impress anyone, that his worth does not depend on convincing with speeches, but on maintaining his presence without adornments. This generates intrigue. He who is silent observes, he who observes understands, and he who understands acts with precision. That is the kind of man who projects confidence, someone who does not react hastily, who does not allow himself to be provoked, who responds when necessary and not before. Women perceive this immediately. Well-managed silence is not indifference or arrogance. It is a signal that your inner world is ordered, that you do not depend on the approval of others to exist. It conveys confidence and mystery, 2 irresistible qualities when they are authentic. The attraction is not in silence itself, but in what it says about your character, patience, composure, emotional intelligence. A man who speaks only when necessary does not waste energy on useless arguments. Instead, he uses his words with intention. Each sentence weighs more because it is not diluted among meaningless chats. This verbal self-control makes you more credible and more respected. He who speaks little is often heard more. Practicing silence as a weapon does not mean withdrawing from the world or disconnecting from others. It means learning not to react impulsively. It means observing, understanding, and choosing when to intervene. For example, when someone tries to provoke you, your silence breaks the game because it denies the fuel they seek. When you are in a group and do not feel the urgency to comment on everything, your presence becomes stronger. In Stoic philosophy, silence is linked to self-mastery. Seneca said that he is wise who speaks little to himself and even less to others. This principle is not outdated. In modern life, where many compete for attention, the one who does not participate in that noise stands out more. To cultivate this aura, practice active listening. Stay present in conversations without feeling the need to interrupt. Learn to tolerate the void in uncomfortable silences without feeling the urgency to fill them. Dedicate moments of the day to be in absolute silence, without phone or distractions. You will notice that your mind becomes clearer and your emotions more stable. Silence is a training for emotional self-control. When you master it, you stop reacting to provocations, you do not fall into traps of absurd arguments, and you convey the feeling that nothing external can take you out of your center. This type of presence is magnetic. It cannot be faked because it comes from a trained and disciplined mind. The man who turns silence into his weapon stops chasing attention. He no longer needs to convince with phrases or prove his worth with empty words. His calm speaks for him, and that energy, firm but calm, is what generates genuine attraction, what makes others want to approach to discover what is behind that serenity. In a world of voices screaming to be noticed, the man who is silent and observes becomes unforgettable. 2. Walk slowly, master the space. There is something hypnotic about the way a man moves. He doesn't have to say anything or dress ostentatiously. It's enough the way he steps on the ground. Walking slowly is not laziness or lack of hurry. It is the reflection of someone who does not feel chased by time or the anxiety to impress. It is the pace of someone who is sure of his place in the world. Many men believe that attraction comes from muscles, fashionable clothes, or what they have in their pocket. But real magnetism starts before you open your mouth. It starts when you enter a place, and the way you move announces that you have arrived. A man who walks slowly projects calm, but also control. He says without words that he has nothing to prove and that the environment does not impose its rhythm on him. This feeling of mastery over one's own body and the space around it provokes immediate respect. In reality, walking slowly is a training for the mind. It is learning to slow down in a world obsessed with speed. When you reduce the pace, your body stops reacting to external chaos and aligns with your breathing and your purpose. This not only conveys serenity, it also awakens a silent authority. People notice it even if they can't explain it. They perceive that you are not part of the noise. Imagine a cafe full of nervous people talking loudly and moving quickly. If a man enters who advances with measured steps, without looking everywhere, without urgency, he inevitably draws attention. His energy contrasts with the chaos of the environment. It's not about appearing haughty or acting as if the world revolves around him. It's about being so centered that nothing external accelerates your internal rhythm. Stoicism talks a lot about this calm in action. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should move with dignity, without agitation or exaggeration, because the movements of the body reflect the state of the soul. A slow, firm step indicates that you are not at the mercy of circumstances or emotions. It is the body showing the mind's self-control. To master the space, it is not enough to walk slowly. It means occupying the place that corresponds to you naturally. It is the upright but relaxed posture, the open but not tense shoulders, the gaze directed forward and not to the ground. It is to move without abrupt gestures or unnecessary movements. Each step counts because it expresses that you know where you are and where you are going. This type of body language has an immediate impact on how others perceive your presence. A woman is not attracted to someone who seems lost or nervous with each step. Instead, she is intrigued by someone who moves confidently, as if every meter of space he occupies were his by right. That confidence, conveyed through simple movements, generates genuine attraction because it suggests inner strength. To cultivate this aura in everyday life, start with something as basic as your walking posture. Keep your head upright, your chin slightly up, your shoulders relaxed, and your gaze focused on what's in front of you, not on the ground. Adjust the rhythm of your breathing with your steps. If your breathing is accelerated, your walk will be too, and that projects anxiety. Another useful Stoic practice is the control of gestures. Avoid fiddling with objects, checking your phone while walking, or moving clumsily. Each action should have intention. Before entering a room, take a brief pause. That silent pause gives your entrance a different weight, as if you were marking the beginning of something important. You should also learn to read the space. Observe how the place you arrive at is arranged and calmly choose where to position yourself. Don't seek to draw attention by running to the center or hiding in the corners. Find the point where you can be comfortable and present without seeming invasive or insecure. One of the keys to this aura is patience. Walking slowly does not mean wasting time. It means rejecting unnecessary hurry. It is remembering that not everything deserves your urgency. When you walk without anxiety, people perceive that you do not move due to external pressure, but by choice. This deeply stoic attitude projects a sense of freedom that is attractive because it reveals that you are not a slave to impulses or the expectations of others. In a world where almost everyone walks with their phone in hand, their gaze down, and their pace hurried, the man who walks slowly becomes a distinct figure. Not because he tries to be, but because his presence radiates control, and that inspires curiosity and respect. True attraction arises from this contrast. While others rush for fear of being left behind, you advance without competing with time or anyone. Mastering space is also a reminder that there is no need to beg for attention. You don't have to speed up to be noticed or exaggerate gestures to seem important. Your mere presence, conveyed through a serene and confident step, is enough to fill the place. This is not achieved with superficial effort, but with inner discipline. The man who walks slowly and masters the space does not need to impose himself with words or demonstrate power with abrupt gestures. His slow pace speaks of a heart that does not get agitated easily, of a mind that does not let itself be dragged by the rush of the world. That energy is magnetic because it communicates that wherever you are the center of gravity. 3. Save your life for those who deserve it. In a time where everyone displays their life as open showcases on social media, keeping your inner world has become an act of power. Many men make the mistake of giving away their story, their emotions, and their plans to the first person who asks, as if the attention of others were a validation currency. They do not realize that revealing too much, too soon, not only robs them of mystery, but also takes away control over their own narrative. A man who saves his life for those who deserve it is not cold or distant, he is selective, and that selectivity generates respect and a desire to approach. Think about this. What is shared without filter loses value. Just like a jewel exposed without protection, what is valuable needs care. When a man displays everything, his thoughts, his achievements, his failures, seeking approval, what he projects is need, not strength. Genuine attraction feeds on the sensation of discovery, not that everything is already served on the table. In Stoic philosophy, self-discipline not only applies to the body or emotions, but also to speech and personal exposure. Epictetus said that we should not give control of our mind to others, and that starts by taking care of what we reveal about ourselves. Being reserved does not mean living in secret. It means not allowing just anyone to have access to your emotional intimacy. A man who saves his life for those who deserve it conveys that he knows how to set boundaries, that not just anyone can enter his personal space. This invisible boundary does not repel, it attracts. Women perceive such a person as a man who values himself and does not distribute his essence for approval. The mystery that arises from this reservation arouses interest because it implies that there is more to discover, that not everything is available instantly. Saving your life is not about building walls to keep you away from the world, but about intelligently filtering who deserves to know your thoughts, your fears, your goals. It means understanding that closeness is a privilege that is not granted without criteria. In a world obsessed with likes and comments, the man who does not share everything about himself becomes intriguing, almost countercurrent. This aura comes from self-understanding. You cannot decide what to show and what to reserve if you do not know who you are. A man who does not know himself ends up revealing what he should keep quiet and keeping quiet what he should share. Therefore, cultivating the habit of introspection is key. Spend time thinking about your values, your limits, and what you consider sacred. That internal work will allow you to decide what to tell, when, and to whom. In daily practice, saving your life means not posting every detail on social media, not telling anyone your plans before they materialize, and not opening your heart to those who have not proven to be worthy of hearing it. This is not pathological distrust, it is respect for yourself. It also involves learning to listen more than you speak. By not feeling the urgency to reveal everything about you, you become a better observer. You understand people better because you are not distracted trying to impress. In addition, this quietness feeds a magnetic presence. Those who do not offer themselves completely from the beginning leave room for the genuine interest of others. A common mistake is to confuse emotional openness with emotional overflow. Being open does not mean pouring out your personal story in every conversation. It means being able to share when it is appropriate and with those who have shown empathy and respect. The man who overflows seems fragile. The one who opens up wisely shows maturity and self-control. There is something deeply attractive about knowing that someone does not share their secrets with just anyone. It gives the feeling that if you trust that person, what you receive is real and unique. This perception elevates your social and emotional value. To develop this aura, start by practicing verbal self-control. Before speaking, ask yourself, has this person earned the right to know this about me? Or am I just trying to fill the silence with stories? That small filter will help you avoid the need for attention, making you give away your intimacy to those who do not deserve it. Another powerful habit is to keep your achievements silent until they are real. Do not announce every plan, every idea, every advance. Let the results speak for you. This not only protects your energy from unnecessary criticism, it also gives weight to your words when you finally decide to share. In social environments, you will notice that the men who most seek to be admired often end up losing respect. Their need for approval makes them predictable. In contrast, the one who maintains a certain distance, who carefully chooses who to invite into his world, seems to have a different value. Not because he thinks he is superior, but because he is perceived as someone aware of his own worth. The attraction that arises from saving your life for those who deserve it is lasting, because it is not based on impressing but on provoking curiosity and respect. It is the type of magnetism that does not fade over time, because there is always more to discover. The man who practices this reservation does not become an inaccessible fortress, but a guardian of his essence. He does not live for applause, nor does he crumble from criticism. He keeps his inner world intact and only allows those who truly value him to cross the door. That energy, strong and disciplined, sends a clear message. My life is not for everyone. My time and trust are privileges that are earned. In a sea of people who display themselves to be seen, the man who chooses selective silence and conscious discretion becomes unforgettable. And it is that aura of self-respect, wrapped in mystery, that genuinely attracts those who seek more than a facade. 4. Listen with intent. Speak only when necessary. Most men underestimate the power of listening. They believe that to impress, they must always have something to say, filling silences with stories and opinions. But the truth is that those who know how to listen have more influence than those who talk incessantly. Listening with intent is much more than just staying silent. It's paying full attention with the body and mind. It's looking at the person in the eyes, observing their gestures, capturing the nuances of their voice, and understanding what is not said with words. A man who listens with true presence conveys confidence. He doesn't interrupt because he doesn't need to impose himself. He doesn't rush to respond because his ego doesn't depend on being the center of the conversation. That calmness in listening is magnetic because it shows that you value the other person, that you're not caught up in the internal noise of wanting to shine all the time. Women perceive it immediately. It's not about an empty silence, but an attentive silence, loaded with intent. Speaking only when necessary doesn't mean being distant or cold. It means that every word has weight because it is not wasted. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the man who economizes his words becomes more intriguing. His voice stands out because it's not heard often. When he speaks, people know it's worth listening to him. Stoicism teaches that we should govern our tongue with the same rigor with which we train the mind. Seneca warned that more than half of men's problems come from speaking when it was not necessary. A man who masters his impulse to speak for the sake of speaking shows control, intelligence, and respect for others. Listening with intent allows you to understand more than what others are willing to openly say. It gives you an advantage in deep conversations, in negotiations, and in personal relationships. By listening with your eyes and body language, you perceive inconsistencies, notice hidden emotions, and understand what really matters. This makes you more empathetic and also harder to deceive. In practice, listening with intent involves eliminating distractions. When someone speaks to you, put away your phone, stop looking around and focus on that person. Maintain an open posture without crossing your arms or looking at the clock. Nod slightly to show that you're following the thread, but don't interrupt with unnecessary comments. Ask questions that deepen what they're telling you, not questions out of courtesy, but because you're genuinely interested in understanding. Speaking only when necessary requires training patience. Often we feel the urge to fill silences because they make us uncomfortable. However, silences can be powerful allies. In important conversations, a brief silence before responding can give more strength to your words. It conveys that you reflect before speaking, that your responses are not impulsive. Moreover, by limiting what you say, you reduce the risk of revealing too much or getting involved in pointless arguments. This not only protects your emotional energy, but also gives you the reputation of being prudent and reliable. People tend to trust more those who know how to keep what is entrusted to them and who do not speak just to impress. One of the great advantages of this habit is that it makes your presence more solid. Imagine a meeting where everyone is competing to be heard. The one who remains silent most of the time and listens attentively, but when he speaks, does so with clarity and firmness, becomes the group's point of reference. His voice breaks the noise. It doesn't blend with it. The Stoic understands that he cannot control the words of others, but he can control his own. This verbal discipline is a sign of inner strength. It keeps you away from gossip, empty arguments, and impulsive promises that you won't be able to keep later. Every time you choose to be silent instead of reacting without thinking, you strengthen yourself. To develop this aura, start by practicing active listening in every interaction. For example, when someone talks to you about a problem, resist the temptation to interrupt with immediate advice. First, listen to the end, then take a brief pause and offer a response that shows you understood, not that you were waiting for your turn to give your opinion. Another useful exercise is to impose moments of daily silence. Dedicate at least a few minutes a day to not utter a single word, simply to observe your surroundings or to reflect in silence. This trains your mind not to depend on constant speech and strengthens your self-control. In social contexts, learn to detect when speaking adds value and when it only fills a void. Ask yourself before intervening, does what I'm about to say build, or is it just noise? This small filter will make you stand out because your words will have purpose. There's something fascinating about a man who doesn't compete for attention, who doesn't feel the urgency to be heard at all times. His serenity sets him apart from the crowd and provokes curiosity. Women find attractive those who listen because they feel seen and valued. and that's much more seductive than any witty phrase. The man who listens with intent and speaks only when necessary doesn't need to raise his voice to impose himself. His power lies in his full attention and the precision of his words. His presence creates an atmosphere of trust and respect that naturally attracts. In a world saturated with opinions, the man who chooses to be silent to understand and speak to contribute becomes a rare and valuable figure. His energy is not dispersed in banal conversations. He reserves it for moments that really matter. This combination of deep listening and measured word creates an unmistakable aura, that of someone who is not looking to convince, but to connect. 5. Live guided by an unshakable purpose. There is something irresistible about a man who knows where he is going, not because he shouts it or boasts about it, but because every gesture, every decision, and every step he takes seems aligned with a clear direction. On the other hand, a man who wanders aimlessly, who lets himself be carried away by circumstances or the fashions of the moment, conveys instability and weakness. Genuine attraction is born, in large part, from the perception of solidity, and that solidity can only come from a firm purpose, one that does not bend under external pressure or dissolve with failures. An unshakable purpose is more than a goal. It is a principle that guides your life, that gives you direction when the world becomes chaotic and keeps you standing when everything around seems to crumble. It is that internal spark that does not depend on applause or anyone's approval. When a man lives with purpose, his energy changes. He walks differently, speaks with conviction, and does not get lost in trivial distractions. Stoic philosophy makes it clear, what is under your control is your character, your actions, and your attitude towards events. Everything else is external. A genuine purpose is born from those internal values that do not fluctuate with circumstances. Marcus Aurelius said that he who lives in harmony with his nature does not get lost, even if everything around him crumbles. That is what makes a man a pillar, that even in chaos he maintains his direction. Living guided by a purpose does not mean becoming rigid, incapable of adapting. It means that even if you adjust the path, the destination you pursue remains the same. For example, a man whose purpose is to contribute to the well-being of his family can change his job, city, or strategy, but his decisions will always reflect that intention. This internal consistency projects strength because it shows that you do not live randomly and do not break with obstacles. This emotional and practical stability is deeply attractive because it conveys security. Women are not attracted to someone who today says they want one thing and tomorrow another, who abandons what they start at the first stumble. What really attracts them is the feeling that you are anchored in something bigger than the moment. The problem is that many men confuse purpose with pleasure or superficial achievements. They pursue money only for status, fame to be seen, or immediate success to impress. This kind of purpose crumbles when there is no audience to applaud or when the path becomes difficult. A real purpose does not depend on the external outcome. It is based on internal values. Discipline, service, improvement, loyalty to what you consider right. To find that purpose, it is necessary to look inward. Ask yourself, what would you do even if no one applauded it? What gives you meaning when everything else loses color? The answers are not always immediate, but only by exploring them can you discover what really moves you. Once identified, the challenge is to live it with discipline. It is not enough to know what matters to you. You have to honor it in small daily actions. Every habit, every decision must align with that purpose. If your goal is self-discipline, you cannot give in to small impulses because each concession erodes your internal credibility. If your purpose is to protect those you love, every irresponsible choice undermines that mission. Living guided by an unshakable purpose gives you a huge psychological advantage. It frees you from the need to seek validation. You no longer need to impress others because you do not live for them. This emotional independence not only strengthens your character, it also projects attractiveness. People respect and admire those who do not bend to please others. In everyday life, this means that you do not get distracted by trivialities. You do not enter unnecessary disputes. You do not waste time in environments that drain your energy. You do not give in to momentary temptations that go against your goal. This determination sends a clear message. Your time is valuable, and you protect it. A man who lives with purpose is not the loudest or the most visible, but he is the one who remains constant when everyone else abandons. His constancy inspires trust because it conveys that he is willing to withstand the necessary storms to get where he proposes. To cultivate this kind of aura, start by writing your purpose clearly and reviewing it every day. It does not have to be grand or heroic, it just needs to be authentic. Make sure it does not depend on external factors. Then, define habits that support it. Every small achievement consistent with that purpose reinforces your identity and self-esteem. It is also important to learn to say no. Every time you say yes to something that does not align with your purpose, you are weakening your direction. The discipline to reject distractions is as crucial as the effort to move forward. The Stoic finds peace in this commitment because he knows he cannot control the fruits, but he can control the sowing. He lives with meaning even when he does not see immediate results, because his satisfaction comes from the act of being faithful to his path. That fidelity is reflected in character, and strong character is always attractive. There is something fascinating about a man who seems to have an internal engine that does not turn off, a silent goal that sustains him. He does not despair when progress is slow. He does not get tangled in external criticism. He does not lose his direction due to passing emotions. His aura becomes magnetic because he embodies one of the rarest qualities today: consistency between what he thinks, says, and does. In a world where many get lost following trends, the man who lives guided by an unshakable purpose becomes a beacon. His presence inspires trust and respect, and that combination of conviction and serenity makes him stand out without needing to seek it. That is the energy that genuinely attracts, the one that does not depend on adornments or words, but on the strength of living for something that goes beyond himself. 6. Let your actions speak before your words. The mistake many men make is to believe that words can replace action. They talk about what they will do, what they dream of, what they promise, but they rarely turn these promises into reality. This not only erodes credibility, it also weakens presence. A man who depends on words to validate himself becomes predictable. On the other hand, one who allows his actions to speak for him projects a magnetism that cannot be faked. True respect is earned when actions confirm what you say. And if there is nothing to say, even better. Let achievements be the only speech. A man who acts without announcing it provokes irresistible curiosity, because his value is not in what he promises, but in what he demonstrates. This consistency between word and action is the hallmark of maturity and the trait that most distinguishes Stoic men. Words are easy, free, and volatile. Actions are hard, costly, and firm. In a world saturated with empty speeches, a single consistent act can carry more weight than 1,000 inspiring phrases. This does not mean becoming hermetic or avoiding communication. It means that every time you decide to speak, it is to back up what you are already doing, not to cover up what you will not do. From the Stoic perspective, integrity is the core of character. Seneca warned that no one can consider themselves strong if their actions contradict their speech. Living by this principle implies that you do not promise what you cannot fulfill, that you do not boast of goals that you have not yet reached, and that you do not use words as a shield to hide inaction. In practice, this translates into small but powerful choices. Do not announce a project until you have real progress. Do not promise help if you cannot give it. Do not excuse yourself with elaborate explanations when a simple, honest no is enough. Over time, people will start to notice that every time you say something, it is because you already have it underway, and that builds a solid reputation. There is something deeply attractive about silent consistency. A man who shows up on time, who does what he says, and who does not need to justify every step conveys reliability. Women feel respect and admiration for those who do not seek to impress with speeches, but with results. To cultivate this aura, it is necessary to develop discipline and patience. Discipline allows you to stay constant when the initial enthusiasm disappears. Patience teaches you not to seek immediate recognition. Acting without boasting requires inner strength because it means giving up quick validation in exchange for deeper and lasting respect. In everyday life, this also means not falling into the trap of explaining every decision. A man who justifies himself too much seems insecure. The one who lets the facts tell the story projects control. It's not about coldness, but understanding that results will always be the most convincing argument. The man who lets his actions speak first does not need to compete for attention. His presence becomes solid because others know that he does not promise smoke. This combination of silence and action generates an aura of respect and trust impossible to replicate with words. In a world of empty promises, his authenticity becomes his greatest attraction. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment, "I am Stoic," as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.